item number 13 under our action agenda. And those are items, action as necessary and appropriate on matters discussed in executive session. We only had one item as 3A tonight, which was selected employment items. Do I have a motion? Ms. Baumgartner.
I move that we approve selected items as shown in Exhibit A.
Have a second? Mr. Cates seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. That passes unanimously. And that brings us to item number 14, which is second and final reading of approval of the proposed revisions to Board Policy KBB, Parents' Rights and Responsibilities, shown in Exhibit C. Do I have a motion? Mr. Cates.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we give second and final reading approval of proposed revision to Board Policy KBB, Parents' Rights and Responsibilities, as found in Exhibit C.
Have a second? Ms. Baumgartner seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. That passes unanimously. And item number 15 is a request for waiver of the online testing requirements for the spring of 2018, shown in Exhibit D.
Thank you, Mr. Gant. I want to ask Dr. Harris, our Chief of Planning and Administration, to take this agenda item found in Exhibit D.
Turn the mic on.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Gant, members of the board. Dr. Melton, similar to our approach on last year, 17-18 school year, during that testing period, we are here to request an online testing waiver for our 2018-2019 assessment period. This waiver, as shown in your packet, really reflects and addresses those students, specifically grades 3, 4, and 5, who will be taking the ELA portion of the South Carolina Ready exam. It will also address students who are in residential treatment facilities, should there be any at that particular time, as well as students who might be homebound or home-based students, should there be any at that particular time. These students, this particular request does ask that we administer paper and pencil administration versus online for those specific areas. Our rationale behind this particular request is that we want to make certain that our students who are in grades 3, 4, and 5 are, their testing mechanism is consistent with the manner in which they have been taught throughout the course of the year. So their mode of instruction, as we like to say, is consistent with the testing operation or method of operation. That is the reason that we're here, and is the reason that we offer the request on tonight.
Ms. Hammond.
I think I have this right, but I just wanted to check. So 6 through 12 will take it online. It's the 3 through 5 because of the one-on-one. They're not used to taking it that way and might not do as well, correct?
Well, there are two things. You're correct that 6 through 12 will be taking it online. Grades 3, 4, and 5, we're only asking for the waiver for the ELA portion of that.
Oh, not the math.
Not the math, just the ELA portion of that. The written portion of that is of greater concern. And we continue to build as we continue to build our infrastructure and make improvements as we have over the past couple of years, we want to make certain that that our students have as much advantage as they possibly can. And this method of instruction works well for them, and we think we'll get the best out of that.
Well, Dr. Harris, is there any, since we've gone to the online testing, can all grades still get a waiver up to so many years? I'm just curious, not necessarily us, but do they allow it, Dr. Melton? Do you know?
This is our third year, Dr. Harris,
This is
I
our
believe,
third
of
year,
us
right.
receiving our waiver, and with each year, we have been told that that will be the last year.
That would be it, right.
So we were quite frankly surprised that this was going to happen, but I think it
Absolutely.
identifies a need across the state, not just here in School District 5. If you were to go back and look at 3 years ago, we requested permission to participate with paper and pencil in lieu of online at all. So over the course of the last 3 years, we've increased our online testing experiences. And for this waiver request, Dr. Harris has met with a variety of what we call stakeholders to get principal input, to get Ms. Garris, our Director of Technology, Mr. Richardson, Dr. Lice Zachary, our Coordinator of Assessment. So we've involved a variety of people to bring this request forward to the board to make sure that you understood it's not just us being overly cautious, it's us being responsive to the requests that we've heard because of ELA, of course, with how it's instructed. But if you notice under the just above the portion that says reason for waiver request, Dr. Harris has recorded a reason there because our one-to-one is not in grades 3 through 5. We're not there yet. We're on average one device per 2 students. So we, of course, have to be mindful of making sure it's the most competitive advantage for our students to have a device per student as compared to having to share, and then structure the testing environment around that limitation.
Well,
Dr. Harris, did I forget anything that you would like to add to that?
I think that's it. We did include our Director of Special Services as well. We wanted to make certain that those students have a voice in terms of how they will be tested as well. So we'll just include that.
Well, I would like to say thank you because I know that how comfortable a kid is with how there's test anxiety
Right.
anyway.
Right.
And so if you don't have it where they are used to that, it could really affect their performance. So I'm glad we're doing that. I just didn't know how long they may let us do it when we need to do it. Thank you.
Mr. Cates?
Just to clarify, and this is more of a statement than a question, so I apologize for that up front. Because often when these waivers come out, it gets teased out that, oh, District 5's not ready, there's a deficiency within the district that requires us to request a waiver. When in reality, I'm sure there's a better way to state this, but there's really a deficiency in the standard, because we're asking third graders to be able to manipulate a device that they don't use every day, to take a pretty high-stakes test, which in and of itself sounds crazy when you say third grade and high-stakes test. Just let that sink in, right? I'm not a third grader, and I don't like high-stakes tests. So I just want to make sure we're clear that we're doing what we think is in the best interest of the students of Lexington and Richland 5, regardless of our ability to provide the technology. I mean, the strides we've made in the technology is phenomenal just in a few years.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I'm a user of technology, but and my children are, but I'm glad they did not have to have assessments that were beyond their means as they were coming up. So I appreciate really the effort to do what's best, as we all wish to do every day, for the students in our district. So thank you,
Yeah, thank you,
for
Mr.
bringing
Davis.
that forward.
Any other question, discussion? So I'm a little lost here. We didn't get a motion, we just had discussion, didn't we? We didn't. So if there's no further discussion, we probably need a motion to request the waiver for online testing, and then go from there. Ms. Hutchison?
I move that we request a waiver of online testing requirements for spring 2018 as shown in Exhibit D.
All right, we have a second. Ms. Hammond seconds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. That passes unanimously. That brings us to item number 16, and I'll remind everyone that our next board meeting is October the 15th at Chapin Elementary. But item 16 is to adjourn. Do I have a motion? Ms. Baumgartner.
I move that we adjourn.
Second. Mr. White seconds. All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. We thank you all for being here. Ms. Pascal?
I love you guys.
Say it
Love you
applies.
back.
You're your favorite, right?
It's a record. How'd you know?
It's a